All right, this is Comic Burrito, a podcast. I'm Todd.
I'm Cole.
And I'm Nick. We are with Jared Luján, writer of comic book Dryfoot.
From Mad Cave Studios.
Mad Cave
Studios. Jared, what got you into comics?
Sort of like a weird long history of it. I was really into storytelling as a kid, and just in general, like books and movies, and I was really into anime. And at some point, I got kind of like crossed over between mangas from my friends and like normal Western comic books, and so. Which I think is a weird entry. I think it's usually the opposite for most people.
Yeah.
Is like most people get into comics and then manga, but it was the opposite for me. And then for like 10 years on and off, I was in and out of comics. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, I got really back into them when I got really committed to the indie stuff. I stopped buying most Big Two books. I'm lying. I'm a trade waiter for the most part on Big Two stuff.
Sure.
But like with indie stuff, my whole pool is just indies all the time, and that was the stuff where I was like, yep, this is where I'm going to stay and hang out at.
Was there a specific indie that like pulled you back into that side?
Ironically enough, because Dryfoot is we're kind of selling Dryfoot on this comparison, but the first book that I got back into comics with was 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank, I think, was whenever I got really committed.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We're about to do a video of it. So
We're doing a review after this interview on that book.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's amazing. And I think there's going to be some it's super good. And I think that's
I got those feels from Dryfoot, so I love that. Like,
yeah.
Yes.
I think that's there. I got really nervous about telling people that it was going to be influenced by 4 Kids because I didn't want people to actively look for the similarities. Mm-hmm. But I definitely think there's an influence. I think it's different enough, but there's definitely like an influence there.
Oh, it's definitely a different feel and everything, but you kind of get that same spirit of kind of what's at like the core. That's not really an original thing. It's how it's brought out. Through everything else, and I love it. I think you did a good job, obviously, like loving that, but then making it your own and having obviously your own original ideas and all that attached to it.
Thank you. I can't wait for it only gets more different as we gonna go down this road. So it's really exciting.
That's good to hear. So we kind of spoke on Mad Cave Studios, and you actually won their 2019 talent search. What was that process like, and how has joining the team been since that?
So the talent search when I was back last year, because it's different this year, was if you win, you got a 4-issue miniseries, which is no longer the prize, or a 5-issue, which is no longer the prize anymore. But so I wasn't going to submit anything, as a matter of fact, because I had tried in 2018 and lost. And I was like, I was actually having a lot of success with some short comics. I was building quite a decent following on Twitter with it. So I was thinking about just kind of committing more time to there and then hopefully work up to a book somewhere else. But Anthony Cleveland, who is the writer for Show's End, and he's doing Stargazer. Stargazer drops a week before Dryfoot. He and I have been friends for a minute, and he was telling me, like, you should really give it a shot. It's been a pretty good experience for me. Like, I really think that you should kind of throw something out there. So I didn't listen and sat on it for like, because I've read their books. I had read Mad Cave before I had entered, and so I knew a couple of their stories. But so I didn't really listen. And then like 30 days out, he was like, "Hey, what 30 days from the deadline?" He was like, "So are you gonna do it, or like what story did you pick?" And da 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 da. And I was like, "Oh, I haven't done anything." And he was like, "Just do it." And so I wrote it out, submitted it. Dead silence for months. I think the deadline was September, and I heard back in November. that I had won, and I was like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah,
worth the wait.
Yeah. But it's been a really good experience. I really like Mad Cave a lot. I really like the people they got. I think Chris Fernandez, who was my editor on Dryfoot, who's now the publisher at Mad Cave, he's such a good dude and super talented as an editor. And I think that Chris and Chris Sanchez, who's their editor in chief now, he's also super great as an editor and as a person. I think that those guys, coupled with Mark London, who obviously has his finger on the pulse in a lot of ways, makes Mad Cave a super exciting publisher, especially going into next year, whenever we hopefully don't have the huge delays that we had earlier this year. So I think Mad Cave's really exciting. They've been really nice, really welcoming. They've really put their energy and time behind the book, which is so, they just announced books with Matt Ehrman and Christopher Sabella maybe a month back. But they put so much energy into promoting Dryfoot and supporting it. And it's so easy to backseat us because it's like, oh, yeah, it's his first book. Meanwhile, we have Sabella and Ehrman, and I'm a huge fan of both of those guys. So it's really cool just for them to still be putting so much time and energy into promoting our book and giving it the publicity that I think it deserves, because I'm really proud of the book and I'm very happy with Mad Cave.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's cool. That's really great to hear.
Can you give us like a general synopsis of what Dryfoot is about?
Yeah, so Dryfoot is about four teenage friends who want to get out of so let me start that over. It's 1980s Miami. Okay. It's as your wonderful outfits express. It's 1980s Miami, and in 1980s Miami, Little Havana, which is a mostly Cuban neighborhood, but is actually super diverse in terms of Latinx communities, as I learned. But it was a really violent place. Lots of drugs, lots of violence, lots of gang wars. And so these four teenage friends decide that they want to escape that life. They kind of see that life, maybe they're part of a cycle that they want to escape. So they hatch a plan together to rob a bunch of cash off of the local drug lord, who is super vicious and super nasty. And Dryfoot is about them and their life choices after that.
Nice.
That's awesome. I love it.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, do you actually have any like favorite characters that you have writing or in this book?
I love Mariana. I love writing Mariana. Mariana I'm
She's
super foul mouthed. Yeah, like I cuss all the time, and it's an act of like restraint for me to not drop like an F-bomb every 2 sentences, and I don't know why I'm like that. My mom tried her best, but she failed. But so like writing Mariana, I'm just like, yep, I just get to do whatever I want. She's so much. All of the kids I like writing all of the kids because all of them are legitimately like teenage friends that I had, mixed with one of my personality faults or good traits. Like it's one of the good or the bad. And I think Mariana's got so much of this. A friend of mine who I grew up with, who she knows. So I'm not like sneaking it. I told her I was doing it. Yeah. But so much of the book, so much of Mariana is her, and we're still pretty close friends, mixed with my less than great characteristics, and so it's really fun, kind of exploring that sort of thing. But yeah, she's easily my favorite to write.
She's easily my favorite. I have a soft spot for strong women,
yeah,
especially ones that can beat you up.
Yeah,
and she's awesome. She's
yeah.
great.
I'm already terrified enough of women that I don't need them to also be.
So, as someone who loves stories centered in Miami, like especially in the 80s, like Hotline Miami is one of my favorite video games. Vice City is one of my favorites. I love Miami Vice. I adore it. Is there a reason that you chose 1980s Miami? Because it's also really it's a really fun era, but it's also really dark and terrible with like drug wars, and it wasn't all like flashy colors and really dope Ferraris and stuff like that. Like it's an interesting time, which I think makes it really awesome. Was there a reason you picked that?
Yeah, I did it. Mad Cave, as part of the talent search, Mad Cave doesn't do Crater Run. They do, or not yet. They own the IP. So when I came on, they kind of told me it's going to be a 1980s Miami story with this group of teens that, and here's like some stuff they could do, but and then I took it and ran from it. I actually just go ahead.
Oh, so they give you like a skeleton to kind of work with, and then you kind of fill in everything else.
Yeah. They really gave us a real bare bones. Like there wasn't really a plot. We had a setting and characters for the most part was about it. And then they gave us, like they were going to end up in opposition to a drug lord, but most of it was everything after that was from me. But I actually despise 80s nostalgia because of the reason you mentioned, is that, and that's why I was super psyched about the story, is that I was like, man, the 80s get this hype for being like this great era and everything was super nice. And we had Karma Chameleon and everything was going to be okay. And like the Breakfast Club. And I'm like, no, the 80s were violent and awful. And like there was so much drugs. And that's why I was super psyched when they kind of gave me this idea. Because I was like, hell yeah, it's time for the reckoning of the 80s. Let's put some mud on its name,
Yeah, totally. I mean, it makes it feel better that it's not like glitz and glamour, that it's dirty and it's not a fun place, and it's like, yeah, this is have fun like lifting this up because it's actually not good. I think it gets this weird like pedestal, the 80s, and I think it's because music. Like I think Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club, and music is the only reason the 80s have this strange pedestal. And so yeah, it was nice getting to kind of go up to bat and defame it, Nice. That's awesome.
So since we're on the topic of music, you call Wu-Tang one of your passions.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite member?
Ghostface Killah.
Yes.
That's the only answer.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All due respect to RZA, but
yeah.
RZA does not have, and I think that's the only close second, right? Like, because as a group, they're amazing, but like RZA's the close second. But Ghostface has like changed the face of rap. His lyrics and his storytelling and his rap are second to none. I don't think there's a current rapper that could match the sort of stuff that Ghostface puts down. Ghostface is so creative that he's actually also done comics, which, by the way, Ghostface, call me.
12 Reasons to Die is amazing.
Yeah, yes, also written by Rosenberg.
Yep.
But yeah, Ghostface is my guy.
Oh my goodness, that makes me happy.
Yeah, I'm glad you answered that way.
Yep.
Another thing I noticed on your website, you have an Unnamed Mini for the end of this year or next year. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
Yes and no. I can't tell you anything specific. Like, so I guess it's easier to tell you what I can. It's a big sci-fi story that I'm doing with Kyler Clodfelter, who has been a longtime friend of mine, and he's the artist on the book. We have an amazing colorist who I don't think we can talk about yet, and it's his first book, but he's amazing. He's probably going to have way more work after this book, as he's phenomenal. And then, but yeah, it's a big sci-fi book. It's way, way different than Dryfoot. It's really me just having fun. I really wanted to make something that was super funny and lighthearted, and I really like I'm a really big fan of self-aware, like action movies. Like, you're not trying to tell a story about the duality of man. You're just blowing things up because it's fun, So that's kind of what this is. Yeah, yeah, it's just a science fiction. We've got like there's gonna be if you really like any sort of science fiction and like '90s buddy cop movies, then it's gonna be right up your alley. It's really fun.
Like every keyword that you're saying
yeah.
is like hitting me like
buddy cop sci-fi '90s. I mean, let's do it.
It's great.
That's awesome.
we had that pitch. We wrote that, or I wrote it, and we had pages for it 2 years ago, and we sat on it after me and Kyla and I have been doing other stuff since. It didn't get picked up anywhere. It almost got picked up at another publisher, and then it didn't. But so we all sat on it, and then I'm pretty sure it's because of Dryfoot that it got picked up this time around, because I just sent it out as like, I have a book now. This is what it's called. Let's just put it out into the ether because we already have the pages ready, and it got picked up. So it was it's pretty cool. I'm really excited for the announcement on that. I think the announcement is probably going to be towards the end of this year because we're probably going to have a spring release date.
Okay.
And is that going to be on like most social media probably then?
Oh yeah, I'm going to be doing. I've been doing nonstop promo for Dryfoot, and I'll probably be doing the exact same thing for this one.
We'll see you later then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, no, we have a first issue done. It's done.
Awesome.
It's ready for people to read it, and it's taking me everything in my power to not just put it out on Twitter and be like, do it. Like, look at it.
Let's get Dryfoot out first. Focus on it, like Dryfoot.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Our group chat is always like me or someone else that day trying to fight the urge to like post it online and just be like,
I mean, like maybe you could just post like just a page.
Yeah.
And then be like, oops.
You can just show us.
Yeah. We won't share, we swear.
We won't tell anyone.
I'm tempted.
You mentioned your somebody new that you're working with. How is working with Orlando, Warnia, and Justin on Dryfoot?
It's pretty easy because they're all really good at what they do. Orlando is, I'm convinced, is some kind of wizard, but watching Orlando's, oh man, I don't know. He takes everything so well. His notes. So my scripts are pretty not bare bones, but I don't really put a ton of direction. I like artists to kind of visually, that's their skill set. If an artist thinks this looks better, then I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to fight tooth and nail about it. You know, if the story carries, if what we have in there works, then I'm pretty much good. But the few times Orlando came back and was like, "Hey, I don't think this is going to work," I was just like, "Cool." But Nia is phenomenal. I think one of the best parts of the book are the colors. They stick out so much, and it's just every page has that Miami feel. It's got that whenever we get to the later issues, it's got that nice neon that really encapsulated 1980s Miami, and she's phenomenal. Justin, I met Justin at C2E2 right after he'd lettered the last con of 2020, right after he had lettered the first issue, and we were talking, and he's just like this super normal dude who's just like, yeah, I'm like, hey, is everything fine? Like, is the formatting of the script okay? And he was just like, yeah, you know, and then it's good, you know, and he just read issue 3 like a week ago, and he sent me a message, and he was just like, I don't think people are prepared for that. And I was like, yeah, but it was super cool seeing his transition. But Justin's lettering in the first issue is phenomenal. It's really the way he captures. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but the way he captures the different character voices when they're not on the page together is what was one of my favorite parts of the book. But yeah, working with them has been great. I really hope I can get everybody back together on another book sometime, because it was easy and easy because everybody took notes super well. Everybody listened to each other. Everybody was communicative, and it gave a really good. Everybody believed in the book too, I think, is a big thing. You know, Orlando and I both. Dryfoot was supposed to be 5 issues. It got shortened to 4 because Orlando, as good as he is, had other things scheduled this year, and so I was kind of nervous going into it with a 4-issue script and everything, but after I got the first issue of the first cover for it, I was like, oh no, we're golden. Like this, and Orlando's got such a faith in the book, and it's his first, published work as well as a result of the talent search. So he was super into it, and you can he's got so much energy, and it's great.
Does I've seen you've wrote a lot of reviews. Does that change the way you write comics yourself? Do you ever criticize your own writing a little bit?
Yeah. So I started writing reviews a year and a half ago, 2 years. And I did it as an exercise to better my own comic writing. It was never that was never my end game as much as it was to learn how I wanted to figure out. Let me word that better. I think it's an easy question to say to ask, why didn't I like this book? But the better question for me as a reviewer and as someone who is trying to get better at writing is, why did I like it? What specifically did I like about it, and what made it work in the way that it is as a narrative device? And I think that definitely changed the way that I write comics significantly, just because I was paying more attention. I read every comic I have that I'm super into. I read it 3 times, and I read it once for fun, twice to find what I don't like, and the third time to find out what I do like, and then I try and force myself to understand why those things worked. I still couldn't give you any of those answers on Gideon Falls. I love Gideon Falls. I'm not sure I will ever understand what's happening in it, but I think it's brilliant. But yeah, writing reviews definitely changed the way I write them. I'm kind of taking a step back from that now that I've got sort of gigs coming up. I feel bad writing a review for Mad Cave at this point, because there's no way I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be like, oh, it's dope.
Yeah. These are my buddies, and they write sweet comics. You should buy this.
Yeah, I tried writing a review for Comic Burrito, and it was very glowing for some reason.
Yeah.
Mine was very critical.
Yeah, it was. It was actually. I'm still kind of upset about it, Nick.
Yeah. We kind of kicked him out for a few weeks. We've learned to grow.
Yeah, we've gotten over it. So, where can people find the book?
So, Dryfoot will be available at your comic shop. It's better to pre-order it, even though if you have a comic shop in your town, the chances are that I have either 1, already talked to them, or 2, have tried to, because I spend 6 hours on Monday just emailing comic shops and calling them, but I usually try and find a few hours throughout the rest of the week. So chances are that I've already tried to contact them. If I haven't, or they ignored me because they were like, I got other things to do, which is also fair. The pre-order code is JUL, like July, Jewel, 2012-76. And
that'll be down here too.
So. I'll put that in a description and probably across Nick's face or something like that. It'll be great.
So you can go in there with that code, and they will order it for you. But I would prefer everybody buy it from their comic shop. I don't like digital comics, so if you like digital comics, you can go on to Comixology, but you should definitely buy it from a comic shop.
I strongly agree with what you just said.
We'll put that code up here, and there's 3 probably right here, so I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I already told my shop about it, and they already ordered it. I assume if you tried to call them, they probably didn't answer, but it's not because they didn't want to talk to you. It's because they're not open on Mondays.
Oh, okay. So I've been generally just emailing. I make a call if I really think if I really want that if I have the time, one. But the reason I've been doing emails most part is that I can send a PDF right then and there. I don't have to tell them I want them to. But if I can send a PDF and I can send the diamond code and I can tell them when it's going to be released, that's pretty much most of the info that a comic shop needs so they can have it. So they can order it. But I'm really, really intense on getting it into comic shops' hands. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, we sent out advanced copies to a bunch of comic shops. Mad Cave did just this week. I think they would have gotten that. But we really want shops to read it because we think that's going to motivate them to order it, and they know that they have something right there that you can sit there and be like, okay, if it's trash, I don't have to order it, but it's not trash, so they'll order it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that cover, just seeing the PDF and the little thumbnail, right there.
That's going to just sell it right there.
Yeah, that's going to make me pull it off of a shelf.
Wait until you see the issue 3 cover.
Awesome.
It is beautiful. It is a masterpiece. And I told Orlando when they sent it, or when Nia sent in her colors, I sent an email to everybody, and I was like, I'm going to get this in a shirt, and I'm never going to take it off. Like, I'm just going to wear it all the time.
Nick, you have an important question. You want to finish it up, or Cole?
The last one.
We have
we get the last one.
All right, so this is the final and easily the most important question of the night. I know that you also mentioned cooking as a hobby. Describe to us cooking the perfect burrito.
So the perfect burrito I don't make. I go and pick it up from Ileana's Burrito Shop, which is here in my town, and she is the most brilliant lady, and she cooks the best food of all time. Otherwise, it doesn't even matter what you order from her; they're all good. If I'm cooking it, I'm stewing guisado bean and cheese, and it's guisado's like stew meat, and it's stewed in like a gravy, and refried beans and cheese, and that's a South Texas border town delicacy, you know. I love guisado bean and cheese, and that's like a running joke from where I live up to like it's right in the San Antonio area, or where I'm from. I don't live there anymore, but my hometown's about 3 hours from San Antonio, and everybody in that region is always like, oh, it's guisado bean and cheese and Big Red this morning, and like that's just the staple breakfast. And I don't do Big Red, but yeah, it's guisado bean and cheese for sure.
Nice. Awesome, very cool. Well, yeah. Now that we have the most important question wrapped up, do you have anything else you want to share about the book? About anything else that you want to get out there? Just where people can find you? Yeah.
So my Instagram and Twitter handles are both at Jared Luján. Jared is spelled super weird, so it's Jarred, and then yeah.
I'll put it here. Whatever you say, I'm going to put over Nick.
We just go like this, and then Todd just does it.
Right here. Yeah. It's like a Wu-Tang thing, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's at Jared Luján on both. I also, on my website, lujanwrites.com, I have a ton of free comics that are all generally short. I think the longest one's like 10 pages. But if you kind of want an idea of what I write like and what I write about and things like that, there's plenty of stuff there that's accessible. But yeah, I mean, most important thing I think is that people go out to show. I mean, I know that like everything sucks right now. You know, the world kind of sucks. And as somebody who lives in Texas, I know all too well about the worrisome state of the world. But if you can, you know, pre-order the book. Comic shops are like really in a bad spot with everything going on. And so if you can pay for the book when you pre-order it, I'm sure they would appreciate it. If not, just make sure you pick up your pull lists. Because I talked to as someone who has talked to maybe like 100 comic shops in the last 2 weeks, people not picking up their pull lists lately has been a pretty rough time.
Wow, that sucks. Man, bummer note, man.
Yeah.
Well,
but a good message. But a good message.
But the good news is that you can change it by just going and picking it up or paying for it over the internet.
There you go. Look at that.
Really and if you're super old school, they probably have a phone too, and you can just call them. Do it that way too.
Bare minimum. If you're in a tough spot and you've lost your job or anything, just let them know.
Mm-hmm.
That you're not going to be able to get them because they sit on them where they could sell them. And I've heard of a lot of comic shops where people are kind of paying it forward, and they're like sending their comic. Like you go in and give them $100 and just say, hey, if somebody can't pay for their books because they lost their job, like help them out, kind of a thing. I've been hearing a lot of shops doing that.
That's what during the Diamond shutdown, I was buying trades, like stacks of trades. That
That's
I'm,
what we did.
We
Yeah.
did too. We went crazy. Oh man.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure my wife is planning to bury them with me, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure my wife.
What a
is
better
planning
place for them to
bury me.
yeah. There's like a stack, like maybe 3 feet high, sitting in our living room,
Yeah.
and she was like, and I was playing a video game today, and she was like, "So are you gonna read today?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm actually in this, and then I could just feel the heat, you know." And it's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna read today, you know." Yeah, but like it's so like I did that during the diamond shutdown. I paid for like someone's pool list who hadn't come in like a month, and he was like, "I'm gonna lose all this money on these books," and I'm like, just throw them in there. I don't read 2 or 3 of these, but like a couple I already had. But I'm like, you know, I can't believe like shop people are so nice. They're always so nice.
They really
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
like
people.
just let them know you can't pay for your books, or just like get a friend who's can like do something, you know, just do something, you know. But pre-orders, that's the key right there. The indie comics thing, man. Indie comics and shops both really dig pre-orders. It's almost like the entire nexus of how the market operates after that. So pre-order dry foot. That's the real last note.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for being on, Jared. I really appreciate it. We're really excited for Dryfoot. I loved it. It was good stuff. Thank you for being here. And then, yeah, thanks for getting wrapped up with us. I'm Todd.
I'm Cole.
I'm Nick.
And that's Jared.
I'm Jared.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.